Welcome to the Turkey Hunter Podcast, the original all-turkey, all-the-time podcast with your co-hosts Andy Galliano and Cameron Weddington.
In our weekly podcast, we're going to bring you some wild turkey calling tips like this.
From there, we're going to go into, she's aggravated, there's another hen that's challenged her, or she's challenging another hen, she's going to cut an excited yelp.
Advice from old pro turkey hunters like this.
The turkeys typically don't like, I think, more times than not, to travel in an easterly direction into the sun first thing in the morning, especially after he gets up. It's a blinding thing. It's just like you. It's hard for you to see into the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a choice, I'm going to try to make it so that I'm going to be on the west side in the morning, east side in the afternoon of a turkey.
Exciting live hunts like this.
Holy crap, that coming. Holy cow. Oh, God.
Then we're going to teach you how to cook your bird with advice such as this.
With some fresh rosemary and garlic, and then cool that off and spread that along the inside of that butterflied turkey breast that we've seasoned on both sides.
Wildlife management tips for your property, especially with turkeys like this.
If you look at the type of habitats that turkeys need for nesting and brooding, that tends to be habitat that can be managed more successfully with growing season fire than with dormant season fire.
And hopefully along the way, we'll get plenty of these.
Well, on November the 28th of 1953, I was attached. When I popped out of my mom and the baby doctor spanked me on the bottom, I went, oh! And I've been doing it ever since.
I like that.
Thank you for tuning in. And now, for this week's show. Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of the Turkey Hunter Podcast. You are listening to episode number 529, the post-New Zealand turkey hunt show. And I am your co-host and the guy who feels like he needs to lose about 10 pounds, but the scale says he's gained 0. Something's weird there. Maybe Tammy's adjusted it. I don't know.
I haven't even thought about getting on a scale. My Lord. I feel like it'd max it out. More so than usual this year, man. But anyway, I'm the guy who, your co-host, and the guy who is at war with a red fox.
You know how to outfox a fox, don't you?
No. I can confidently say no at this point, but I'll hopefully change my tune on that at some point.
Oh, goodness. So what's the latest with the fox?
Well, I had several sets out, and he checked like 3 of them, never got caught in any of them. And now he has taken Bubbles, the duck. So now I'm really upset because he took my duck.
Oh, man.
And came back. I put a trail camera. I assumed it was him, but I didn't know. So I put a camera by the chicken coop to see, what's going on. Because he came, the ground was frozen, so there was no tracks or there was no trace of anything whenever he took my duck. And no feather. I guess he just grabbed her and took out with her. But I put the camera up. 2 nights later, I got a red fox like right there trying to get in the pen.
Yeah.
So it was almost certainly him. So I got to figure out how to catch him. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if the bait I'm using isn't attractive enough. It's like I put cameras on my traps and he'll come up and kind of check it, but he doesn't work the set. He doesn't dig at it or really put his nose in there. He just kind of takes a whiff and runs on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was thinking my traps were defective or something, but then my lab got caught in it yesterday, so I know they work.
Yeah, I got that picture.
Mac was not happy about being caught.
He did not look very happy.
I I was working in the garage and I just hear, "Ooh, what is that sound?" I walked out. I was like, "Oh gosh, he got in the trap." But he's totally fine. Didn't hurt him at all. I mean, those traps are designed to hold the animal there. I'm sure it doesn't feel particularly good, but
Yeah.
like, I feel like I tell people who don't trap, like, "Oh, I'm trying to trap coyotes," and they envision like the bear trap with the teeth on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trying to just snap the thing's leg and some like barbaric thing.
Yeah.
But simply not the case. So anyway, did y'all have a good Christmas? We enjoyed a week off with the podcast, as everybody noticed, but we are still on a regular schedule. We just took off for Christmas with it being literally on Thursday this year.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a very nice Christmas. Something that I've been wanting to do for years, at least with my family, is, hey, let's ditch all the presents.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, I am very cheap. I'll be the first one to tell you, but that's not why I was doing this. We've gotten over the past probably 25 years, we've gotten to the point to where we were drawing names, because I have 3 siblings and we would just draw names instead of buying everybody gifts. And it became a situation to where if I drew my sister's name, I would just call her and say, "Hey, what do you want for Christmas?" And then she would tell me, and that's what I would get. And so I don't know. I appreciate the fact that we were doing that, and it made life easier because I didn't have to return anything. She didn't have to worry with returning anything. I didn't have to worry with keeping up with receipts to give to her to return something. Plus, I didn't have to worry with what in the world am I going to get her. And so it just, I don't know, it just got to the point where really it was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so we were doing the same thing with our parents. And, "Hey, Mom, what do you want for Christmas?" And she'd send out a list and we'd get her stuff off the list. And then this year she was just like, "You know what? Y'all don't worry with getting us anything. What do you want?" Well, that made it real easy. I don't want anything. Actually, what I do want, I'm not going to say you can't afford, but you're probably not going to spend on me, because the rest of my siblings would get very jealous if you bought me, I don't know, a couple 100 acres.
There you go.
So
that's what we should have been doing. 1 acre a year, and by the time I'm like 70, I'll have a nice little farm.
Yeah, exactly. But it was nice. So what we did instead of exchanging gifts was we played games and just had a great time. So that's what we did with my family. And then Tammy's Christmas ended up a little messed up. Her family's did, because her mom got sick on Christmas Eve, which is when we celebrate her family Christmas.
Yeah.
So we had Christmas without her mom. Well, we had Christmas dinner without her mom, but we're going to go, I don't know, sometime in the next 2 weeks, we're going over to her sister's house to do their Dirty Santa. They do Dirty Santa for Christmas, which I think I hate even more than just giving gifts.
Man, quite the Scrooge this year, Andy. Come on, man.
I've always been Scrooge. Dirty Santa is not, it just, number one, it lasts too long. Number two, you end up with something that you don't want 9 times out of 10, and it gets either regifted or donated to charity, which I'm okay with that. But if I was just going to donate something to charity, I would say, "Hey, why don't you give $25 to the Jimmy Hill Mission, which is a homeless mission here in the Birmingham area, or give $25 to the American Heart Association, or NWTF, or TFT." But no, instead I get some sort of a Chinese-made salad shooter that I'm not going to use and Tammy's not going to use. And so we end up just taking it down to the little local, like, Goodwill place where you donate goods and then they turn around and resell it in their store. It just, Dirty Santa just drives me crazy. So I'd prefer not to do that, but I'm okay. I'm not that guy that's going to rock the boat and, tick off everybody in the family because I say, "Hey, or in her family, because I say, hey, Dirty Santa sucks. I'm not doing it anymore. So if you want to do it, they enjoy it, then that's what we're doing. So I'm not too bad a Scrooge. I'm just my typical Scrooge.
Just a somewhat Scrooge. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like it.
To prove how little of a Scrooge I was this year, I am like the biggest anti-Christmas music person you've ever seen in your life. All of the songs are the same. You got the only new Christmas music is Christmas music that one artist is trying to do their own version and outdo every other artist in the history of time who's remade that same song. So you just have people trying to out diva themselves. And the songs are just depressing. Really. 9 out of 10 of them make me want to jump out of the 1-story window in my living room to try to end it all.
Gee, man.
It's
taking a dark turn.
Tell me if I'm not right. Just correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, yeah, but you can't say that part out loud.
Oh, I just did. And I say it every single year. But this year I was really good. I didn't complain or anything about the Christmas music being played in the house because Tammy loves it. And then on top of that, it's something small. It's a small step. I'm not patting myself on the back just yet. But on top of that, once a week, and we actually ended up doing it more than this, we watched a Christmas movie together.
Yeah.
So, and we actually, what we did was we watched movies that were new to us. And so other than Miracle on 34th Street, which was not new to Tammy, it was new to me. I'd never seen it before just because I am Scrooge. So, I tried this year. I think I did pretty well.
Nice.
Tammy may tell you differently. So how about you guys? You got a youngin' who is just prime Christmas age.
Yeah. We had the best time. She definitely, Christmas takes another level of fun and like enjoyment back into it when you have the little one. So she made it really fun. She got a pink Red Ryder BB gun. We were target practicing with that. Oh yeah. So awesome. She's fired up, and then got this little like indoor go-kart thing. I don't know. It's sick. It's like a little scooter go-kart almost. It's honestly unbelievable. Like I got on it with her and we were riding around. It's pretty fun. And so she flies around on that thing, and then we got her a bike. So we're working on training on the bike. So she had a great Christmas, and it was a really fun time.
Good deal.
Yeah. Well, this, I will say I've had, during our monthly hiatus, a couple months off that we took, I had a lot of people reach out like, hey man, what the heck happened in New Zealand?
Yeah. It was either so good or so bad that you guys had just decided to quit the show.
Y'all have quit turkey hunting because of New Zealand? What happened?
Did y'all get in a fight? What's the deal?
No, but I have had a lot of people, we built up a ton of how we're so excited to go, and then we have not told anyone pretty much how it went.
Yeah.
So I guess it's time we reveal it all.
Yeah.
And tell you how the hunt went with Dink Watson and New Zealand Turkey Adventures. It was, I guess, do you want to just do the discussion from camp first, and then in our outro we could just, talk some more about it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Let's
I think that's a better way to do it.
All right, well, cool. We'll see you guys on the other side, and we'll talk New Zealand, mate.
All right. Hey, everybody. We're here in New Zealand. I would say sunny and warm, but it's sunny and cold, New Zealand. At least it's been very cold the past couple of days. We had a couple of warm days here, and that was, I don't know, I'm not going to say it was enjoyable because I really do enjoy the cold weather. Anyway, here we are.
Yeah.
And
I'd say it's similar to spring, though, weather-wise. It's cold in the mornings, and then once that sun gets out, I mean, you're shedding layers. It was the first day, especially. We went from cold to like, I want as little clothes as possible on while I'm hunting, to I'm now freezing again because I didn't put any clothes back on. We stayed out here too late.
Will it please get dark soon so I don't freeze to death? Yeah. So we're done with the hunt, and we're sitting around just kind of retelling some stories and things like that. I thought it'd be cool just to get the recorder going and kind of record some of these stories and talk about the hunt a little bit. So we'll just go around the room and let everybody introduce themselves.
Hey, this is Dink Watson, New Zealand Turkey Adventures. I run this show over here. Got some really good guests with me this week. We've enjoyed ourselves.
Nick D'Alessio from Laurel, Delaware.
Cameron Weddington from Tennessee. Co-host this podcast with a guy named Andy.
And I'm the guy named Andy. So, yeah, we just, like I said, wanted to just kind of talk about this a little bit. You know, we talked about, we had Dink on the show a couple of times prior to Cameron and I coming out here. And so now that we're here, just wanted to kind of talk about our experience. And, you know, this has just been a very unique trip. And so I'll start out this way by asking Nick and Cameron what they feel like was their most unique experience here, hunting and even when they were not hunting. So, when you want to take it from here?
Yeah, I could start it off with that. I would say uniqueness-wise, the farm we hunted, well, two things. My absolute favorite thing on the hunts we did, we hunted 3 mornings, and daylight here is just like at home with the birds waking up, you know, in springtime as the sun's starting to rise and everything's coming alive, but the birds are so different. It was just really cool to hear the magpies, the seagulls, and all these, you know, mallards were flying around, and the paradise ducks, and those things are loud. And hearing the turkeys gobble at all these different sounds that we're not used to. You know, magpie would equate to our crow, I guess, and they don't have any owls, but...
Yeah, I'm going to interrupt you, but our hunt yesterday morning was just insane, and I've got audio of that, and we'll share it with you guys at some point in the not-too-distant future. But well, first of all, I'll spoil the story a little bit. We step out of the truck, we're getting our gear, and off in the distance. And so that
Pitch black dark.
Yeah, absolutely dark. That really was about the first bird sound we heard that morning. So we get to where we're going to sit down, and the woods start to wake up. We start to hear the magpies. We start to hear a few more little birds here and there. And then it was like 10, 15 minutes later, it went to a different level. And the bird noises and sounds just exploded all around us with all different kinds of sounds. And it was really amazing. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, and one particular sound, which was a mob, as they call them over here, of gobblers gobbling their heads off at half those sounds was pretty nice to have in the mix. But so that was pretty unique for me. I just thought it was awesome because it's the New Zealand version of like the cardinals waking up and everything I'm used to in Tennessee when I'm turkey hunting. So I thought it was really neat. And then yesterday we explored a station, as they call them here, which is like a ranch or, you know, piece of property that somebody owns. And the station we hunted, the rock outcrops and just we were turkey hunting in Mordor or Narnia. I mean, it was the craziest. And to see those turkeys literally climbing up these rocks, and some hens were hiding out in like a cave out of the wind. I mean, it was unbelievable. I've hunted Andy and I both, and it sounds like Nick too. And Dink, we've all hunted all over the country in the United States. I've never seen turkeys in habitat like we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
So that was as unique as it gets for me as far as the habitat-wise, because you kind of feel like, oh, I've seen them in the mountains, I've seen them in the valleys, seen them in the swamps kind of deal. I ain't never seen them climb rocks like that, I can tell you that much.
No, that was an experience, no doubt.
So those are two things I found really unique. Nick, did you have anything?
Well, I guess unique as far as hunting, I would say, you know, if you come here to New Zealand and hunt with Dink, you're going to have the option to hunt pretty much any style that you want.
Yeah,
I know, you know, in the United States, we hunt gobblers. We sit on the roost, you know, close to the roost as we can, call them in, which works here also. But you also have the option, if you're up for it, that you could work the terrain here because the hills are rolling. Like Cameron said, if you go to one of the ranches that they have, stations is like he said, it's they call it Stonehenge because there's rocks, you know, coming out of the ground everywhere. And you can work that terrain, and you can actually move on turkeys, which, you know, I know it's not for everybody, but the option is here if that's something you're interested in. The turkeys themselves they're Merriam turkeys. My understanding is they've been here a couple hundred years. I've hunted shot Merriam turkeys in the United States, and the coloring on these birds is different. They haven't had a chance to interbreed with any other type of subspecies of turkeys, which is very common in the United States. The coloring on these turkeys is just pure white. the hens actually, their heads can be on the, we're used to seeing gray heads, pink heads. The hens here have red heads, obviously not as bright as a gobbler, but it is, it's different. These turkeys they're Merriam turkeys, but I think they haven't had a chance to get the crossbreeding like you'll see, with our turkeys back home. As far as non-hunting, I guess the one thing that'll stick out in my mind is the people I've met here on the South Island. They're all super friendly. You just don't have don't seem to get the division and animosity like that you often run into in the United States with people. I mean, everybody here is friendly. Everybody here is helpful. I've not met one obnoxious person since I've been here.
You met me?
Nah, everybody in camp was good too. All nice people. Whole week of nice people. It's nice. It was refreshing.
Yeah. I think for me, it just.
I'm sorry. I'll interrupt. And the food here, where we stayed at this place, was out of this world. Better than restaurant quality food.
It's a fact.
In my mind.
I'm thinking I'm going to get about 10 to-go plates.
Yeah.
Bring back to the States with me.
Cooler of meat pies.
Yes. The food is an experience in and of itself. If you like to eat, you can eat. Well, as long as Lee's not around, you can eat.
Yeah.
He'll clean up.
Yeah. I'll have to share that story in just a second. And we hate that Lee couldn't be with us this morning. Today is Father's Day in New Zealand, which is interesting. So he went and spent Father's Day with his family, of course, and so we're missing out on Lee. He's one of the guides here, but for me, I think just being in New Zealand, period, and from the time we got out of the airport and made the 2-hour or so drive to where we are. So my wife's with me, and I think we stopped, no exaggeration, 15 times in that 2-hour drive from the airport to where we're hunting, just to take pictures and just to kind of take everything in. It just is a truly beautiful place. Then throw turkeys into that mix and it makes it even that much better. It's really something. So that was probably my non-hunting, one of my favorite non-hunting experiences was just taking in the landscape, and I love to do that no matter where I am. Just because I'm not gonna say every place is unique, because one cutover in Alabama pretty much looks like the next cutover in Alabama. So, but traveling around the U.S., you get that to kind of take all that in, and that's one thing that I've learned to appreciate as I've been traveling over the years. But then with the hunting, it's I think just the flock dynamic is interesting to me, and I think it's pretty unique in that you take the Southeast, for example. Now, I'm going from Merriam's turkeys to Eastern turkeys, but you have a situation where you'll have one, maybe two, very infrequently 3 strutting toms with a flock of hens. And it's rare that you'll see more than that, because they are constantly competing for those hens and they don't want to share those hens with any other toms. And here it's like you'll have a flock of 10 hens and 15 toms, and it's really interesting just to watch that whole flock dynamic. And I'm not going to say that they get along at all times, because we saw plenty of heard plenty of toms fighting and sparring for dominance, or just goofing around, killing time. I don't know what you want to call it, because it's not like, in all that fighting, it's not like they're running one off or running 2 off. It's just like, hey, get out of my way. You're in my area, or you don't need to be strutting, kind of thing. But they're not just darned and determined to push the other birds out of the flock. And I think that's just interesting. I'd love to know what kind of leads up to that. Are these family flocks of toms? And I think some of the biologists might tell you in the U.S. that that's usually the case. If you see 2 birds or 3 birds running together, they'll say, well, they're brothers, that they've grown up together, and, yes, they're still going to fight for dominance, but they're not going to try to kill the other bird. And maybe that's what we have in this situation here. These birds, and Dink, you know more about them than I do, but I think they're virtually unstudied, aren't they?
Yeah. I had a couple biologists over here this year, and they pointed out some interesting things to me that never really dawned on me. They're like, hey, did you realize what's going on the roost in the mornings? And I was like, what you talking about? And they're like, watch what happens. The gobblers hit the ground first. At home, the hens hit the ground, the gobbler sits in a tree, gobbles and everything, till this little harem's gathered below him. here the gobblers hit the ground first, and they'll sit on the ground strutting and gobbling before, and I'm talking about pitch black dark. It's just, well, that's true. You know, it's something really. So it's just the opposite there. Now, when they hit the ground, they gather up, and obviously the lead hen, she'll take off leading the group around.
Literally take off.
Yeah, literally take off. Yeah, they've got places they're going. I mean, we've watched them hit the ground and go all the way across a field up into the hills. We've watched them, you know, hit the ground and fortunately been in the right place, and they'd come to us. But it's just so amazing. They'll hit the ground, gather up, and it's like after they hit the ground, they just kind of almost sull, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Just everybody kind of stands around, stretches, flaps their wings, kind of gets their bearings straight, and then when it's time to go, it's on.
Time to go.
Yeah, they're leaving. The other thing they talked about was the hens with their heads. You know, every hen over here that you look at, for the most part, is going to have a red head. It's even the bollards, like, you know, we've got to study that a little bit more. We don't see that at home, and it's kind of a deal. I don't understand it, and neither do they. The dynamics, we talked about this. You sit at home, you watch a gobbler breed a hen, and he's usually got another one sitting there bumping him, you know, trying to push him off. We've sat and watched them breed hens with 2 or 3 gobblers feeding beside them, walking around, and they like look over and go, you know, okay, whatever. Yeah, and you know, so it doesn't really. I don't know if there's that many hens or, you know, what the deal is. So there is some different turkey dynamics over here that I'm learning. I don't have the answers, but I have a lot of questions, and I'm learning it as I go.
Yeah, I will say the buck-doe ratio, so to speak, is insane. It's insane. And, you know, I know that some people have said, oh, you're going to shoot out all the turkeys over there. You know, take so many turkeys.
Good luck.
Here's the thing. If that's the goal, I want to try to help.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a lot of shooting.
You're going to have to shoot a lot of turkeys. Because we're the last group here this year, right?
Yeah.
And y'all have taken, everyone before us has had very successful hunts. Has everybody gotten their birds?
Everybody that wanted their 6 birds have gotten their birds.
Yeah, for the year. So that's a lot of turkeys have been killed. And you see these flocks we're hunting, and you would not think a single bird had been taken out. I mean, it blows my mind that there could have been more.
Yeah. And you see a flock with, no joke, 7, 8, 10 strutters in it.
Yeah.
And that's not counting the mature birds that don't have beards.
Yep.
Yeah. We saw one hillside probably had every bit of 30 gobblers. And I mean, just the whole hillside was strutting. Gobblers with little hens kind of in and out everywhere. And I told Dink and Andy, we pulled up to there, I said, I feel like this is, you know, when I walk through the pearly gates, this is the hillside that's behind the gate.
And I'll be standing beside you, and they'll go, "You're in, you're not, sir." Gosh, again?
You're going to Alabama Conover.
That's something we've noticed over here, and I've explained to my hunters. There's lots of gobblers over here that doesn't, and they may not have a sign of a beard or a sign of a spur. I mean, literally. Not even a bump on her leg. And the biologist said, you know, you see it all over the United States with birds. It's just a genetic trait. Can you
harsh winters too, I assume, maybe, to an extent.
Yeah, you see some birds over there that'll have 2 or 3 inch beards, have a full fan, weigh 20 pounds. Then you'll see one, won't mention his name, kill one with just this gargantuan 4-inch wide paintbrush, an 1 3/8 spur.
His name's Cameron. I'll mention it.
Yeah,
Here we go again.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all aspects. You know, it's the way we classify them over just the same way it's back in the house. You know, full fan, it's a mature gobbler. We're going to shoot it.
Yeah. Well, some of the second best set of spurs I think I killed the whole trip was the second bird I killed, and his beard was at maybe 3 inches long. It's thick at the base, but it just had no length to it. But he was obviously a mature gobbler when he came by, and so. But he had hooks on him, and a lot of these Merriam's turkeys, for me at least, Merriam's that I've killed in out west in the States, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch spurs, kind of nubs are pretty common.
Yeah.
I mean, almost 90% of the birds I've killed have not had any length to them. And these birds we've killed have had some spurs on them. Not all of them, but I probably killed 3 or 4 with some of the best Merriam spurs I've killed.
Yeah. You did kill one that just had a couple of bumps.
Yeah. I helped kill one. So
you killed it.
Our first day in New Zealand, our listeners will love this. If Andy got the audio of all of this, you hear a lot of shooting the first day we were here. And
I did get audio.
We gave Dink the Turkey Hunter podcast experience as became machine gun mode in the first flurry of shots.
So we've been joking with Dink leading up to us traveling over here about, because Dink would send pictures and we'd be like, oh, I can't wait to miss this turkey, or I can't wait to wound this one and have to run it down or something like that. Just joking around, and sure enough, we get over here and that's what I did the first day. Was miss and wound, and we had to run them down and finish them off. And fortunately, the terrain here does lend itself to, if you do shoot one and wound it, you do stand a very good chance of recovering. But of course, that's nothing any of us want to ever do, but it's just going to happen if we're going to pull the trigger.
We did not lose any birds,
which
is
not,
great. But we had one that very nearly we lost, but I ended up finding him under a bush, so that was good. But
yeah, that's another story in and of itself. So yeah, but it's pretty interesting, these birds. You and Nick actually did this with his last bird. Depending on what you want, you can hunt for it. Now, Dink's probably going to slap me for saying that, because Dink wants everybody to come out here and kill their 6 mature toms, whether they have a beard or they don't have a spur, because the way you tell out here is you hunt fans, basically. And if it's got a full fan, then you can rest assured, just like at home, that's a mature bird. And so Dink wants everybody that wants to come out here and kill their 6 turkeys to kill mature toms. So, but if you want to hunt a 10-inch beard, I think you can hunt a 10-inch beard out here. If you want to hunt spurs, it's going to be a little harder to do. But
get some good binos.
There's bring some very good binoculars, but I think you'd have the opportunity to hunt some spurs if you wanted to do that. But you got 6 opportunities to kill mature turkeys, and I think you can, like Nick was saying a minute ago, you can hunt them how you want, you can hunt what you want. And, that's kind of a neat thing. You put me in a new state in the U.S., I'm whacking the first turkey that comes up. If it's got a red head, if it's got a red head and I can tell it's got a beard, it's going down. Now, it may not have spurs. We've had that happen too, but it's a unique hunt, a unique experience for sure.
It's not really a downfall, and I'm the same way as everybody else. If you got 2 birds come in, one's got a 8-9 inch rope and the other's got a 3-inch, and even though they're both strutting with full fans, obviously we know which one we're all going to shoot. Myself, I'm going to try to get them lined up, in 2 for 1. That's just who I am, and what I like doing, if it's doable or legal. But I had a hunter last year. He was the same way. He was very picky, and at the end of 3 days hunting, he'd killed 3 birds, and I told him, I said, look, man, I said, you putting the stress on me. I said, you've probably had 40 gobblers within 30 yards of you, and you've killed 3 birds. You just won't pull the trigger. I said, at the end of the 4th day, if you've only got 3 birds, it's not on me. And he told me, he said, yeah, no, he said, I understand. He said, I am picky. I'm only going to shoot what I want to shoot. And he said, if I don't, he said, you're right. I've had way more shot opportunities on this trip than I've probably had my whole lifetime. So just keep that in mind. You come over here and you're picky. I don't see a problem when you getting your birds, but at the end of the hunt, if you don't have all 6 of them, and me or my guides have got you within, that 30, 40 yard magical radius of 30, 40, 50 adult mature toms, then it's on you. It's not on us.
Yeah, well, that's very fair. And you almost certainly are going to have ample opportunity to take a turkey here.
Yeah.
And so for me, the hunting specifically here, my favorite part, which I already kind of went to, was the roost hunts. They're so unique. I've talked to Dink before on the podcast. The different ways these turkeys roost is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You kind of have to see it to believe it. The piles of turkey crap under these roosts is just crazy. And so they're similar to Merriam's that you encounter in western states and Rios to an extent that have limited roosting. They honor their roosts here obviously very, very well. So they are going to come back to that roost tree or roost stump or roost fence post
or rock
or roost rock, whatever they're roosting on. Yeah, caves. It is a unique, brush piles, and you can see exactly where they want to roost. But the roost hunts here, so we've had a couple experiences. I typically, at home, I'm not a ground blind guy. out here, it is so open next to some of these roosts. If you want to have any opportunity to actually be close to the roost, you're going to be in a ground blind to start the day. And so we would slip in pitch black dark, slip into a ground blind that was just off the roost, and got to see and hear some unbelievable turkey talk in the mornings and watch the turkeys strutting on the limb or post and gobbling, and a lot of hen talk, and then fly down. And for me, that was my favorite hunts that we had probably. And then one of Andy's hunts that we had where, because what typically will happen is these flocks are in huge flocks, for at least for our experience, the 3 days we hunted, well, kind of 3 days, but the roost hunts would be awesome. A lot of interaction. The turkeys fly down. They're all kind of sorting things out, and like Dink said, the gobblers fly down first. So that's your best chance to get them to come in and get a kill. I think other than the first morning, we killed turkeys at our roost hunt.
Yeah.
The next 2 mornings, and so after that, they may get all together, and you may have 20 gobblers with 30 hens or whatever it is, this mega flock. And once they're in those giant flocks, it can be really hard to pull a turkey away from that flock, because if he's interested in other gobblers, he's got them right there. If he's interested in hens, he's got them right there. So you could either do spot and stalk type hunts, try to get ahead of them. We tried challenging the flock kind of stuff. They do gobble pretty good on through the day. I mean, just they do. We heard gobbling, roost gobbling, late morning, midday, afternoon. They gobbled all day. We did get lucky yesterday, and we found 2 longbeards with 1 hen segmented off, which was awesome. And those birds worked in great. And Andy sent one of them to New Zealand heaven at about 5 yards, which was awesome. And so, if you do catch a smaller flock dynamic, such as what we did yesterday, just by happenstance, I think you can work birds really well that way. And then Dink did, since we were the last hunters of the year, we did get to hunt 1 roost in the evening, which was insane, the amount of turkeys coming from all directions, coming back into that roost. But they typically don't do that because, as I've said, these are ancestral roosts. Like, you don't want to blow them out of there, because you know where they're going to be the next day, as long as you don't do that. But that was a fun hunt too. So the turkey hunting's been phenomenal. And like Nick said, the Merriams here are just absolutely gorgeous. They're stark white on the fans, just unbelievable. So the sights and stuff you see here, the sunrises, it's unlike anywhere I've ever been. And accommodations wise, we're sitting around in the lodge right now with fire going and just hanging out around this thing. And the food, as they've mentioned, is unbelievable. And this is probably the best food in New Zealand, and it's at the hunting lodge, so that's pretty good. But we've been eating really well. I love the accommodations here that Dink's figured out. A little cafe in town, you can go get coffee and stuff in the mornings if you want, and hot chocolate's awesome. But it's just been awesome. I mean, I asked Nick yesterday. Nick's done a lot of guided hunts, a lot of traveling, and what did you have to say about this hunt?
I'll be honest with you. I would have to say, thinking back over the years, I'm getting up there in years, but over the years of traveling the United States and Canada, going on different hunting trips, I would have to say one of the best, probably the best hunting trip I have ever been on. And I would say if you can swing it, come over here, because this is an experience you're not going to find anywhere else.
Yeah. Appreciate it. You took a deer as well too.
I did. I shot. During the course of the hunt, the guide I was with talked me into. No, he didn't talk me into it. He just kept talking to me about.
It didn't take much talking.
Didn't take much talking. No,
look, there's a fallow deer. All right, I'm in.
I shot all kinds of different exotic deers in the United States, but not native, of course, but exotic deer in the United States, and I never shot a fallow deer. I just hadn't heard anybody talk them up, and my guide said, "You're going to enjoy this as much as any Sika deer or Axis deer you've ever tasted." And I said, "Let's do it, and it was quite an adventure. It took us almost 3 hours to move on this fallow deer, but he got us within 70 yards. 70 yards, and actually an airplane was dropping fertilizer pellets. 2 of them were working the ranch that we were on, and we had a fallow deer skylighted, but we needed him to move just a little bit somehow, so we weren't shooting over the edge of a hill. And the airplane right before I had my gun up ready to shoot, waiting, and the airplane buzzed. I don't think it did it on purpose, but he buzzed that herd of deer. They moved right down into where we wanted them to be, 70 yards. chip shot. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes angels will smile on you when you're hunting, won't they?
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't.
As Nick was saying, there is opportunities in August to come down and add extra big game species. We have a red stag, fallow deer. We have elk down here, tar, chamois. So if you're wanting to come down here and there's other things to add on just beside turkeys, we can do just about whatever you want.
Yeah. Plenty of waterfowl wing shooting opportunities.
Oh yeah.
And there's just
black swans, paradise ducks.
The waterfowl is the seasons down here are June and July.
Okay.
Now the paradise ducks have a separate season, and I don't remember if it's the 15th or the 31st of August. But we did have some of the first guys come down and shot some paradise ducks. You have to buy a license to shoot a paradise duck.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
And you will see a lot of them.
You will see a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they are allowed. And they will tell on you if you're trying to move on a gobbler.
Yeah, they're the tattletales down here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there is some opportunities to shoot some other things that you do have to buy a license for. Waterfowl is one of them. So everything else that's non-native here, no license and no seasons. So you can shoot them year-round. If they have horns or as the turkeys. You can shoot them year-round, but if you want to hunt them like we do at home, it's this time of the year. It's probably going to get better as the season goes on into October, but everything we have here is sheep-related stations, and the ranchers or station owners has already told us September the 25th is the cutoff. From that point forward, they want nobody on their properties just because it's lambing season. And I mean, when you're dealing with a guy that's got 13,000, 15,000 sheep and they start lambing, it's off limits. So we're limited by the dynamics down here, not by the seasons as far as hunting seasons go.
Yeah. And hunting anything in the deer family, I think if you're gonna come hunt a stag, look, I don't have in fact, I look at myself. I want to go elk hunting, but I want elk meat, so I'd be perfectly happy shooting a cow. Yeah, I'd want the trophy antlers and to have that mount on my wall shooting a big bull, but I want some meat, so I'd be happy just first elk with it being a cow. But you'll have that opportunity. But if you want to shoot a big bull elk or a big stag, then you're going to need to come earlier, like Dink said, August, to combine the turkey and the stag, or turkey and the elk, or whatever kind of deer with antlers. You're going to see some with antlers later in the season, but most of them are going to be early season, which will be August here. As far as early season, I mean early turkey season. But there's no shortage of wildlife, and I think for me, going back to turkeys, I was really kind of expecting the turkeys to be, I knew we were coming late as far as you having other hunters ahead of us, and I knew that would educate turkeys a little bit. But I don't think, just in what I've seen, that it was probably any different early season than it was late season. These birds are wild.
Yeah.
And I think some people think, okay, well, you're going to hunt an area where the turkeys don't have any natural predators, which, by the way, I don't think that's right. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But you're going to hunt an area where there's no natural predators. It's going to be like walking into a cage and killing turkeys on a turkey farm.
Yeah.
And it is not. Cameron and I got flat, cold, busted at a roost site yesterday morning. And
just
the
like
lead hen slammed on the brakes, started putting.
And everybody was heading out.
Yeah. The rest of the birds were like running, and she slammed on the brakes, and it was kind of like Three Stooges. The rest of them kind of bump into her because they were like, whoa, wait a minute. She stopped and she's putting, and what's going on? And man, they turned and started going the other direction.
There's always going to be many sets of eyes on you.
Exactly.
Of eyes.
Many sets of eyes.
A lot of eyes.
If you think you're going to bring a baseball bat and walk up to turkeys here, you're sadly mistaken, because they definitely have a very healthy fear of the human.
Yes, yeah. And these are wild birds. I don't know that they're public land, Mississippi, Alabama wild, but trust me, they're wild,
they're not quite as mentally
wild.
Disturbed as those, but
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's also refreshing to not have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. So do you want to share the experience of the predator?
Yeah, so that's what I'd always...
Let Dink chime in on that too.
always heard, oh, there's no predators over there, there's no predators, that's why there's so many turkeys. And while it is true, they don't have coyotes, bobcats, they also don't have raccoons, so nest rating would be less. And they have way less predators here. The number one predator here, we'll talk about this more, is people, for sure. But there also are these giant hawks. And we found multiple turkey carcasses where hawks had made a kill. And then Dink and I and Andy actually saw, which I never would have thought this, a hawk eating a turkey egg next to the road. It was no doubt the hawk was sitting there pecking on it when we ran him off it, and it was a turkey egg. I never considered a hawk to be an egg-rating bird. So these birds do have predation here. And but by far the most prevalent predator here is the locals. If they don't want the turkeys on their farm with no restriction, they can just absolutely wipe them out. And we saw a roost where that has occurred. Dink showed us pictures last year of what that roost site looked like, and there was a small flock of birds down below us that was the remnants of that roost. Maybe 15, 20 birds left, and it used to be several hundred turkeys on that roost. And that's kind of why a lot of what I've realized being here, and Dink had kind of told us this, but you don't really appreciate it till you get here and talk to some of the locals. It's really important that Americans and people come over here and turkey hunt and put value on these birds, because if we don't, they are going to get slaughtered. I mean, the only thing keeping these turkeys from being just wiped out on these farms is there's value on them, just like in Africa with the big game. And the locals are starting to, with Dink and Sheldon showing them what they can do and how much, it's so funny talking with landowners last night, telling about the NWTF convention, 100,000 people showing up to talk about turkeys, and his mind is just utterly blown that that's a thing. And here, they just they don't understand it, but they're starting to see that there's some value in not shooting all their turkeys and letting Dink come guide hunts. And so it's pretty cool to see how that's transpiring. And so I know when the Turkeys for Tomorrow guys were here, they even trapped and transferred a few birds from a farm that did not want them. Rather than just killing them, they moved them to a farm that would accept them. So, that kind of thing's pretty cool. And the landowner we talked to last night, he's wanting to do that. He's like, oh, could we take some from this roost and put them, back here and try to start a population of birds back here and that kind of thing. And it's really cool seeing kind of the ground floor of wild turkey hunting taking place in New Zealand. It used to seem like it always was kind of a side deal. People come over here to shoot a stag and they're like, oh, man, there's a lot of turkeys. Let me blast a couple of them. But
with my rifle.
Yeah, with a rifle or a bow or whatever. And now it's starting to take shape of maybe some turkey conservation type work going on in New Zealand.
Yeah. Talking to the locals around here, Sheldon and everybody, they talked about what the turkey populations was here 20, 30 years ago. You'd see flocks 400, 500, 600, 1,000. They would literally go into a field. I can't remember the name of the grass. It's similar to our alfalfa, and they said the turkeys would just wipe it out. And so the ranchers or station owners, they just started shooting turkeys and literally just exterminate. And that's why now I had this vision when I first come down here, the very first trip, that everywhere I went was going to be turkeys. Well, you go to these regions and there's not a turkey, and it's not because they've died out or anything, riding through them with a local, and they're like, man, we used to have turkeys everywhere here. But this rancher didn't want them, and they've shot them out. Fortunately, here in the little region that we're in, it's probably got the highest, from what I gather, remaining populations. And just like last night, talking, hey, look, let's start reintroducing turkeys back to where they used to be, kind of like it was at home. So we've put a value on it to bring them back, and now the station owners are like, hey, you know what? Maybe we do want turkeys back. And so that's pretty neat to see how this will grow. Where it's going to take us in a couple years. So again, we're back to reintroducing turkeys to where they wasn't wanted.
Yeah.
Now we're being welcomed with open arms. Hey, come on, let's do this.
Yeah. That has been an interesting thing. Like when we got here, driving to the hunting camp, you see these beautiful creek bottoms and big trees and stuff, and you're like, man, I kind of expected there to be turkeys literally in every field in New Zealand, kind of deal.
Yeah.
And it is not the case. They're in pockets, just like at home. You got to find a pocket of birds, and there's a bunch of them in that pocket. But you can definitely tell which station owners have not wiped out their population.
Yeah, and these station owners are just massacring turkeys. There's nothing against the law in them doing this, and they're shooting them and leaving them.
Yeah.
Just to rot because they don't like turkeys. They evidently at some point somebody cooked one for them, and think about the first one, all you guys listening, that you ever cooked when you didn't know how to cook. And boy, it could be kind of rough when you cook it for an hour and a half on the grill, and it's
and no restriction. I mean, they shoot them at night, and the way these birds roost on fence posts, I mean, you could literally
you could wipe out an entire flock.
It would be way easier to wipe out an entire flock here than it would be at home, kind of deal. I mean, because you have no restriction on what you can do.
Yeah, you could get them skylighted and a rifle with a suppressor. You absolutely
22 Magnum,
kill every single one of them.
Yeah. Y'all seen places where they roosted around here. Like you said, skylight them. You can sit there with a 22, walk up within 50 yards of them and just go pop.
I mean, even us with shotguns, if we had zero remorse for the turkey and just started waylaying them off the roost in the mornings, I mean, there's no telling how many you could kill.
I had a couple guys in here coming in, and they was like, "Oh, we hear you're over shooting turkeys." Yeah. Well, we've killed 300 or 400 in the night. And I'm like, oh gosh. And that's back to Sheldon's thinking. Sheldon said, "Look, we've got to make the turkey worth a sheep. That's where it's got to be." And that's why most of these station owners are getting rid of them, because they're competition with the grass for the sheep. They're sheep farmers. That's their mainstay. So until you put the value of a turkey to a sheep, they're going to continue to do it.
You had told us kind of that scenario, but it really became true when you get here and actually talk to locals and just see how, I talked to one local in the bar area here, and I mean, just literally hated turkeys, like absolutely hated turkeys.
Yeah.
But then talking to this landowner that Dink's partnered with, that we hunted on his land, I thanked him for letting us hunt there and that kind of thing. And you can just tell he sees it. He's like, okay, these are actually valuable.
See the gears turn.
These insane Americans want to come here and shoot these things, and they'll pay to do it. So you can just see, and like I was saying, he's wanting to actually start transplanting them now around the farm to get more birds in different places. So you just see that progression. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, to think that you're farming, and I'm using air quotes when I'm saying that, but monetizing a wild animal that you have to do absolutely nothing to maintain other than not shoot it or kill it yourself. You're monetizing that compared to a sheep, where you've got to have workers to herd that sheep, to shear that sheep, to get that sheep loaded onto to feed it grain when you are probably getting it ready to take it for slaughter. And you got to load it, you got to haul it, and every other labor-intensive thing that goes into monetizing that sheep. And here's a wild animal that you can monetize for the same thing. Give me the wild animal where I don't have to do anything. I'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. And yeah, it's like Nick said, you can see the gears turning in a lot of these farmers' heads, these station owners' heads, when it comes to managing the birds.
I've been approached twice since I've been here in the bar area, and they're like, "Oh, hey, you're Dink, ain't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Hey, I've been talking to this one. I've been talking to my neighbor. I want you to come see me. I'm interested in this. I want you to come talk to me. Tell me what I need to do, what you can do for me." And I'm actually coming back Tuesday to meet with two different landowners, or station owners as they call it here, to try to secure more land for next year. Right now, and not all of this land has turkeys on it, but I've secured about 200,000 acres as of right now to turkey hunt. So a lot of it doesn't, and that's, like last night, him telling me, "Hey, look, we've got this station over here. There's not turkeys on it, but we can stock them over there. We want to put them back on it. They used to be there, he was talking about up high. He took me riding around over. He said, there used to be 300 or 400 birds up here. And he said they would go down into the neighbors down there, and they shot them all. But now he's interested. So we need to get them back here, and you've got another 12,000 acres here to hunt, once we get turkeys. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's a work in progress. We're steadily moving in the right direction.
Yeah. And one of the ranches or stations that we went to yesterday, you told us that the neighboring station owner does not want hunting because he enjoys watching the turkeys and enjoys looking at them. And we've got to have that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
that's
Sanctuary.
important.
Yeah, a little refuge is good.
Yeah.
And you know he's not going to be just whacking 300 turkeys in the middle of the night or, you know, at one sitting in a day.
Yeah.
And so that's a good thing to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
A great neighbor to have.
Yeah,
frustrating sometimes when you're trying to hunt the birds and they hop across that fence line.
Yeah, when you drive by and there's a flock of 100 birds over there, just 200 yards across the fence, and you know, I've taken pictures of them. We videoed them, and you're just sitting there drooling, and it's off limits. You know, I mean, you think about it, it's the way it always goes. You've got 200,000 acres to hunt. Where's the turkeys at?
They're always on the neighbor.
Always right across the fence.
201 acre.
Yeah. So it's the same scenario, and is at the house. One of the station owners who's more than happy that we're hunting his place, he does have a resident flock that stays around his house, and he's the one that, you know, hey, you're not hunting these birds. They're off limits to you.
Yeah.
These are my pets. These are the ones I get up in the morning, drink coffee, watch them fly down in the yard, strut, gobble. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't, and that's one of the reasons why there's still birds there, because he enjoyed the turkeys. He wasn't, you know, he didn't hate them. So they didn't just wipe them out. He left some to, you know, to watch and everything. So that's been a rarity over here as far as station owners go. But yeah, and then we've approached a couple landowners that has turkeys, and I don't know if it's the just hesitant. Maybe they've had bad experiences with hunt, you know, with people hunting their property before. I don't know, but they just flat out said, no, you know, we the turkeys are here, but we're not going to allow hunting. You know, we just don't want hunters on our place. And again, that's, you know, that's not bad, you know, because there'll always be birds there.
Yeah.
They're not wiping them out, but yet they won't let us hunt them. So it's a refuge.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, cool. Well, I mean, we could talk about this all day long, and we've all got places to go. Nick's got a plane to catch. Nick's got errands to run. Cameron and I are headed to, and my wife are headed to tour around New Zealand a little bit. And, you know, I just want to really kind of conclude this by saying that this has been an amazing experience, Dink.
Thank you.
And I'm appreciative of the opportunity to come and do this. And, you know, there are hunting operations all across New Zealand, and a lot of them offer turkeys as kind of a side. Oh, well, there's a turkey, shoot it, like Cameron said, you know, and whatever. But you are bringing attention to wild turkeys in New Zealand, not just for us Americans to be able to come over and experience this amazing country with people who are just genuinely nice people, good to the core, and that's an experience in and of itself. But being able to come over here and turkey hunt and combine that with it, you know, and you drawing awareness to that is, I thank you for that. I appreciate that. But then also, like we just talked about, drawing that attention from the ranch owners, the station owners, to the bird and the value there, and to know that this is a resource that, you know, maybe my grandkids will come over here and hunt turkeys in New Zealand one day. It's kind of cool to think about that, you know. And so thank you for that. Thank you for the opportunity to come out here and hunt with you and experience all this. It's been amazing, truly amazing trip.
This is the first inaugural year of New Zealand Turkey Adventures, having hunters out here, and it's been a blessing. I'm wore out. I'm not going to lie to anybody. I've hunted for 30-something days straight, up at 4 in the morning.
Cleaned a few turkeys?
Yeah. I think I know how to clean a turkey by now. I mean, a lot of the guys, you know, hey, man, I'll clean my own turkey. And I've had other guys say, nah, you know, you clean them for me. So, yeah. Not that I had never cleaned a turkey before, but yeah, if I clean another one in the next 6 months, it won't be too soon till I clean one back at home. It's been an amazing year. I've not had one hiccup as far as upset people. Everybody has just been gracious. They've interacted well with the locals. You know, and again, the locals have welcomed us. So it's been a great year. Already looking forward to 26, booking into 27 already. So
awesome. You still have availability for 26?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'm getting everything and I've probably got 60 emails to send out right now. Hopefully over the next day or two, get a little time. When I send one out, I just apologize to them. You know, hey, thanks for being patient. But there's been very little time that I've really had time to sit down and do anything
turkey killing and cleaning.
Yeah. Since the day I stepped off the plane with the very first group, we jumped in trucks, come hunting, and maybe 1 or 2 mornings since I've been here, I've been able to actually sleep in and relax.
Yeah.
It's been go, and so that was you know, something I hadn't really thought about until I got here.
Yeah.
But wouldn't change nothing for the world. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys coming, taking a chance of coming halfway around the world. Nick didn't know me from Adam. From the first time me and him talked, I'm coming. There wasn't no 9,000 questions. It's just like, hey, you tell me when I need to be there, what I need to do, and shows up at the airport. Smile on his face, let's go get him. And he's been so appreciative, and just, to have somebody that's traveled around after talking to him, all the hunts he's been on, to tell you that, hey, if this is not the best, it's one of the best, he said, but it probably is. That says a lot. Yeah. And it's not all because of me. I've had some great guides. The staff here where we're staying is just phenomenal.
Yes, it is awesome.
They have really opened up the door for me, and just bent over backwards. They've told me, hey, whatever Dink wants, Dink's going to get. You just tell us. And
and this kind of bed and breakfast style accommodations has really been
it's so cool,
an added bonus. I mean, my wife is here and she's spending most days by herself. She's got the opportunity to go and stay anywhere in the country and do whatever she wants to do. Got her own vehicle, but she's chosen to stick around here with these accommodations and the food and the camaraderie. She's jumped right in and been part of it, and it's just been a great experience all the way around.
She was having fun last night watching the rugby game.
She was. Yeah. I have to get her to explain rugby to me now.
Yeah. So, I haven't. It's crazy. I haven't missed sleeping in the front seat of my truck like I normally do on turkey trips.
Really?
I don't know what it is about the comfortable bed or waking up to hot coffee and breakfast and a sack lunch already prepared for me, but and then having to come back and eat steak and all that. I mean, it's pretty terrible having to do that instead of sleeping in the front of my truck and eating a can of sardines for the day.
Yeah. And wondering if you'd run out of toilet paper and wet wipes.
Get in the bath every night too. That's
Yeah. But I guess we'll kind of wrap this up. I will say, for our listeners, if you're interested in this hunt, whatever age, however your style of hunting, you can do what you want here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the thing I would say. Nick said this yesterday. The communication is great with Dink and this outfitter. I haven't done many guided hunts, but this one's been phenomenal. What I was told was going to happen has all happened perfectly. The transportation, getting here, everything, there was no hiccups. Communication was great. And if you're someone who wants to hike 10 miles a day and chase turkeys through the mountains, you can absolutely do it. We did some long walks here. The first day. If you're, on up in the years, or your favorite style of hunting is to set up in a ground blind with a couple decoys and hang out for 4 or 5 hours, you could definitely do that here. I mean, it's just, they got the turkeys and they'll let you hunt how you want, do what you want to do, and it's a fun time. So I highly would recommend it. It definitely, on your list of turkey travels, I would have to include New Zealand, and I'll probably be back one day.
Just to reiterate, I did have 3 bow hunters this year.
Yeah.
All 3
and
of
you can
them.
bring a bow pretty easily.
Yeah, bow is really easy. There's no restriction or anything like that. But all 3 bow hunters got their 6 birds. So, I mean, it was 100% kill ratio on birds. Some they spot and stalk. Some we had them in blinds. So it's still whatever you want to do. I've got a guy really interested in coming next year with a muzzleloader shotgun. I've got to find out the do's and don'ts of that, because I don't know. So I've got to get with Sheldon and everybody and find out what he's got to do. So there's ample opportunities for any way you want, shoot one.
Yeah. I know, at least at home, that the word just escaped my feeble little mind. But that primitive weapon, a lot of states have special, or not special, but added seasons and added opportunities. There's no season here. I just wonder, if importing that gun, or you're not really importing it, but you're bringing it in to take it back home, if their regulations are any different from that. And that's one thing that, I think that a lot of us in the U.S., we take for granted, is our freedom, and although it is limited in some states and some places, to be able to own firearms and transport them from here to there. It's very restrictive in New Zealand. But they've got all that handled here, and so you don't have to worry about that. The guns are reliable, and I think, if you can shoot straight, if I can shoot straight, I think the opportunities to kill are there. I've been to Mexico a couple of times and didn't take my gun. I used their guns there, and this last trip this year to Mexico, using their gun, well, let's just say that one of the hunters in our group and his guide literally almost got into a fist fight in the middle of the woods over gun malfunction. And it was not the hunter who was going to initiate the fist fight. So you're not going to have that issue here. You're coming to hunt with a turkey hunter. And I think really that sums it up. I mean, Dink is a turkey hunter through and through. He eats, sleeps, drinks, and breathes this stuff.
An American turkey hunter too. I mean, like
he
Cajun Louisiana turkey hunter. That's about
and it almost seems like every scenario has been thought out for you before you even get it.
That's a good point. You go with these guys who've never turkey hunted before. We both experienced that, and it's like, man, they just don't. They don't know what they're. This operation knows what's going on.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about traveling with your firearm. Don't bring your ammo. You're just creating issues for you. Just show up with your hunting gear and bring all of it, because it might be 70 degrees one day and it might be 40 degrees the next. And I equate this hunt to going out west. Even in May, you may be hunting in a blizzard one day, and the next day you're thinking, I've got to have some water or I'm going to die from dehydration and from sweat and the dry air. So you just have to be prepared for all circumstances weather-wise. But other than that, they got you covered. All you got to do is be prepared to come here, enjoy yourself, and shoot some turkey. So it's get in touch with Dink, and we'll let him share his contact info with you guys, email address and phone number. And before we do that, I'll just say, Nick, do you have any closing thoughts on anything?
No, I mean this is to me the holy grail of turkey hunting. Yeah. I've been all over the United States turkey hunting, and this is just everything's thought out for you. Everything is, you just come here and hunt and enjoy. Have a great week.
Yeah. Make a vacation out of it. That's what it is. So, Cameron, you kind of summed up your thoughts already, or you got anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think I have any more to say. I killed the biggest bearded turkey. Just wanted to throw that out there again.
Here we go.
Andy tried to kill one, better, but
I was spur hunting on this trip.
Well, I got to give Andy credit. I think he blowed most of his beard off on that bird. it would have rivaled yours.
Yeah, that's true. Andy shot the closest one for sure.
Yeah.
Cameron and I are and never really have been into video. We both like to kill turkeys, and at home, if you're going to focus on video, you're going to miss opportunities to kill turkeys.
Yeah.
And we came here, and both of us had the mindset of we'd like to get some video of some turkey hunts, and so we actually have some of those. I think we'll probably put most of them in Patreon. We might share one or two on YouTube just to see what kind of funny anti-hunter comments we get. But that hunt is on video, and it's pretty dang cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Dink, for sticking up for me. I appreciate that.
Do you want to share your contact info again, Dink, and then we'll wrap this thing up?
Yeah, if you're interested in the hunt, look me up on Facebook, Dink Watson, or New Zealand Turkey Adventures. Or you can text me at 337-396-6547. I'm trying to think, what else do I have to get a hold? Oh, my email address is dink, D-I-N-K, at trophyhunting.co.nz. Reach out to me that way. I will get back to you. Again, people listening to this, if I don't reach out to you, I'm probably turkey hunting somewhere, and I'll get back with you when I get through.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Guys, appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's been a great experience. Thank you.
All right. Man, I re-listening to that, it feels like that was a year ago, and it was not long ago at all.
I know it. It does seem like it's been forever.
Yeah. But man, what a trip. That was a fun trip, I have to say.
It was quite the experience, and Dink is a very gracious host.
Yeah.
Just does a great job. And I mean, that's a special place. That's a special place. And people ask me often, what is it like? And the first question out of my mouth when they ask me that is, have you been to Utah? And for those that have been there, I would say it's similar.
Yeah, you're saying there's scenery.
Yeah. But it's vastly different.
Turkey numbers are probably better in New Zealand.
Yes, I would say you're probably right about that. But it is one of the most beautiful places you'll ever go.
Yeah.
The people are unbelievably nice. And
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, we met people in the city. We met ranch owners. We met, just the whole wide swath, from people who probably have never stepped too far away from the city to people who probably you have to pay them to go to the city.
Yeah.
And everyone was just very, very nice, courteous, and acted like they'd known you their whole lives.
Yeah, no doubt. It was, the people were so awesome. I mean, one of the, I guess, people highlights, if we take the hunting out, was when we watched the big rugby match out in the restaurant and bar area with all the local farmers and ranchers and, people. And we had no idea what was going on in that game, but it was so much fun to do that, like to share a sporting event in a different country with like all those people for the big, rugby match. That was super cool.
Yeah. You have to be careful cheering for stuff that you think's good because it may not be good.
That's what I did. Like everyone else was like, oh, and I was like, and they all looked at me. I was like, oh, was that not good? And they're like, no. Oh, my bad. Yeah, my bad. Please don't throw me out of here.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was so much fun.
We had a little bit of excitement the first night. We had a fire.
Yeah, the fire
in the hotel.
Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah, but it ended up being nothing. Thank God. It just the sign on the top of the building had a short in it and had some flames shooting up. Not big flames, just small flames.
Yeah, no big deal.
Fire department came. Tammy got real excited. She's like, "Oh, firemen!" And then she walked out and she's like, "Yeah, New Zealand firemen are not the same as American firemen." So a little bit of disappointment for her with that, but fortunately it was not. It ended up being nothing. But I mean, the dude that runs the restaurant and bar area at the hotel was whoever trained him did a great job, and he did a great job following the rules, which is make sure your people are safe. And he made sure everybody got out of there because, it may have been nothing, but what if it had not been?
Yeah, no doubt. He did a great job handling it. That was a definite interesting way to start the trip.
Yeah,
but
it was. That was our first night there.
Yeah, jet lagged to high heaven, and we're standing outside with a fire. It's like, oh man, I just want to go to bed.
I had on shorts and a short sleeve shirt, and it may have been 28 degrees.
Yeah, because we were all around the big fire. The what do you call them?
The stove.
Big fire, wood burning stove.
Yeah,
it was roasting hot near that thing. So we're all like hardly dressed in anything, and then we have to all go outside. And it's 20 degrees.
And the thought crossed my mind of, if this thing goes up in flames, my bag is in there. I'm going to be pretty cold tonight.
I was thinking if it goes up in flames, it'll warm us up.
Yeah, just for a few minutes, and then you'll be cold.
Yeah, be a temporary relief.
Yeah, but that was a little excitement. That was fun.
Yeah, and so something that was interesting is you hear the stories of New Zealand and all the turkeys and everything. And I think a lot of people, and I'm not trying to be salesy here, but I think a lot of people probably feel like they could just show up over there and murder turkeys everywhere, get permission or whatever. But they're really it wasn't like there was turkeys everywhere.
Oh, no.
The places that Dink took us were loaded, but it's not like every field has 100 turkeys in it. Like there's kind of just like here, there's pockets of tons of turkeys and then none for vast expanses. And then it's like certain stations is what they call their ranches had them, and then other areas had none. So if I was to travel that far around the country, I would almost have to have a guide or something lined up. I definitely would not want to show up, with the GoPro strapped to my rope hat, DIY public lander in New Zealand. I would want to have a lead or some property or, preferably a guide like Dink to take me turkey hunting.
Yes,
would you agree with that?
Absolutely. At 1,000%. And really to kind of drive that home, we covered obviously not every back road in the country, not every road in the country, but we covered a lot of ground. And you think about it, I'm going to ask you this question. You think about it, how many wild turkeys did you see just once you got off the ranches that we were hunting, from driving from point A to point B, anywhere?
None.
Whether, yeah.
None.
So you're not, it's
Dink
not
would
like you're
say,
going
we're leaving, we're going to this area, this is the flock that's there. And when we
Yeah.
got done hunting that flock, it was like, okay, we will move to
we're
this
going to a
flock.
different, yeah.
And there was nothing between that flock and the next flock. Like it was,
Yeah.
he knew right where he knows right where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're there.
It's not like driving around in farm country in the U.S. where you're going to see some strutters out in the field with a flock of hens or something like that.
Yeah.
We didn't see that.
No.
Not one.
It's not like a gobbler and 3 hens in this field and a gobbler in this field. Like they're in very specific spots.
Yeah.
So, that was definitely something kind of shocked me, because I'm not going to lie, like when we were driving to hunt with him, I'm looking out and there's these, creek bottoms and beautiful big cottonwood trees on it. And I'm looking in the fields like, oh man, there's going to be strutters everywhere, and there's none. And I was like, man, what? I thought this place was I thought it was going to be, running over them to get to the place to hunt. And that was not the case. But when Dink would take us somewhere, it had them in a big way.
Yeah.
It was kind of like they have those turkeys, Merriam's here are similar in that they really honor their roosts. They come back to the same roost like Rios and Merriam's do, but those turkeys are like, they are going to roost in the same spot every night.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can look at the piles of turkey crap that are 3 feet tall and tell that a turkey has roosted here every night for years.
Yeah. And if that is an exaggeration about them being 3 feet tall, then okay, they're 2.5 feet tall.
Yeah. I mean, they're up to your waist. I don't know how they make like a big pyramid of crap, but
yeah,
it's really, that was an interesting revelation of the trip. But when you go hunt, and like with Dink, when he put us on turkeys, we were on turkeys, and they are in humongous flocks mostly.
Yeah.
We did have the second to last one that you killed was a pair of gobblers and 1 hen, and that was by far the smallest group we hunted.
Absolutely.
Like by a long margin. And I
Yeah.
wish we could have, honestly, I wish we could have found more like that, because those were by far the most responsive. That was probably one of our best hunts as far as the turkeys coming in and doing everything perfectly,
Yeah.
because the other flocks were just so gigantic. I mean, if I call like a hen, he's got 50. If I call like a gobbler, he's got 30. If I call like a Jake, he's got 20. So what am I going to do to make him come over here?
Yeah.
So that was kind of difficult, but the roost hunts were definitely my favorite, because lots of gobbling, and Dink would have us amongst the turkeys, which was really cool.
Yeah. The roost hunts were, I would say, most like a normal hunt.
Yeah. For sure.
As far as what we experience in the springtime. Now you're going to hear some more kind of gobbling.
Oh yeah.
Some more kind of gobbling on the roost, because you're talking about roost sites that might have 12 or 15 toms in it, 20 toms. And then they fly down and hang around, wait on the hens to fly down, and they kind of bust up sometimes, or sometimes they stay in the big flocks, and that's what they do all day long, is just stay in that big flock, and then they go back to the roost site. But yeah, there's no shortage of gobbling on those roost hunts.
Yeah, no doubt. It was interesting, so I will say, like, if you're envisioning that you're going to go to New Zealand, at least in the time period we went, I imagine it's pretty much all the time, and be like running and gunning through the, striking birds and calling in a lone gobbler midday or something, like, I would temper your expectations. That did not seem to be normal. The two with the 1 hen that we that you shot the one at like 10 yards. That was by far like the best experience we had as far as calling a turkey in late morning, kind of doing the normal hunt late morning.
Yeah.
Whereas, these flocks are so massive, at least while we were there, the roost hunt is by far the most interactive. And then after that, it gets pretty tough as far as calling a turkey away because it's very open, a lot of fields. They're not really up in the woods or anything. There's not big blocks of woods. So you resort to using terrain and moving around and putting stalks, and it's still very fun. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying you're not going to just strike a lone gobbler out there by himself and call him up. It did not seem like that was a very likely thing to happen.
Yeah, I think that especially with those turkeys, because it is so open, their natural tendency is to flock.
Yeah.
And to stay together. And so, yes, you may have hens going off to nest at some point, and that may mean you have more toms who are alone. But even when we found toms without hens, they seemed perfectly happy being
in a group of 20 gobblers.
Yeah. So it's not like they were falling all over themselves to come to calling or anything like that.
No.
So it was what Cameron said is spot on. Your expectations need to be set properly. Is not to say that we didn't go and have some really good, what we would call hunts. But if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to go and kill 6 turkeys and call every single one of them in, not use decoys, and, just be able to call them and have them come gobbling and drumming and strutting across a 25,000 acre field, you might be disappointed.
Yeah, that's simply probably not going to happen. You definitely will interact with turkeys. You'll have them respond and gobble to your calling. We called in some hens were very responsive to calling.
Yeah.
And we called in several of them that came right up, and I don't know. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's unlikely at 10 o'clock in the morning, you hit a call and one hammers out there at 200 yards and you set up at the tree and he comes in, does the exact, spring thing. That just seems very highly unlikely. You're going to be hunting flocks of turkeys.
And you said it, the tree.
Yeah, you sit by the tree or rock. More likely to sit by a rock than anything.
You have a much greater chance of sitting by a rock than you do the tree.
Yeah. So
but it's worth it. People have asked me, was it worth the effort, the time, the expense in getting there? And it absolutely is, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely not dissuading people from going by any means. It is absolutely worth going to New Zealand, and I would 100% go turkey hunt in New Zealand. And, I would do what we did. I would hunt for a couple days and then have you're going all the way over there. Go for a week or so and really take some time to enjoy the country outside of the hunting. Because so disclosure, we both killed our 6 turkeys with no problem. Like,
yeah,
if your goal was to go murder your 6 turkeys as quickly as possible so you can get to sightseeing, you could do that very quickly.
Yes.
We did not. We hunted 3 mornings and got our 6. And so the first day we hunted pretty hard the first day, most all day. And then the second day we hunted literally just the roost hunt and killed 3, and then spent the whole day sightseeing. We actually took off the next day, kept sightseeing, and came back for the third morning and finished up our 6 apiece by noon that day. So we didn't even, it's not like we hunted 3 full days. We hunted we hunted 1 full day, a couple hours one morning, and a half day, and killed 12 gobblers.
Yeah. And I think if you had a mind to, and you said, I want to go and kill my 6 birds in a day.
Easy.
I think you could do it.
Yeah. I don't think it would be a problem. It'd be kind of I mean, we were almost getting. We also got selective, and that's all it took for us to get our 6. Like the 2 that came in with the one hen that did it perfectly, I easily could have killed the second one.
Yes,
but I didn't. It was like there was
and I
one
could have.
shot. Yeah, there's one that morning that you shot too, where I could have shot with you. There was several double opportunities that we didn't take because it was like, well, I mean, we're not exactly in a rush here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why double when we kind of tell it was inevitable that we would have at least the opportunity to kill all our birds. So it was like, why? I'm not going to get in a rush over it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're right. If your goal is I want to kill 6 turkeys as quickly as possible and then get to sightsee and spend time with the family, I think you could do it in a day, easy.
Mm-hmm.
So it is. I mean, the opportunity is definitely there for that. And again, to brag on Dink and his operation, that lodge that we stayed in I loved it. I mean, it's not the Ritz-Carlton. It is a hunting lodge, but the food was incredible. It's a cool place because it's in the back of a restaurant and bar area. So like you can go hang out with local New Zealand farmers and stuff that like you normally wouldn't encounter because of that. And that I thought that added a lot to the trip for me was how cool the lodge was.
Yeah. And the food was outstanding.
Yeah, it truly was.
Yep. Totally agree. So we talked about the hunting. What, as far as we didn't get to see everything.
No.
Around the country because it's a huge country. But what was your favorite thing out of what we did? Maybe 2 places that we went that were your favorites.
Definitely Milford Sound. I think that was the name of it. Was it Milford Sound?
That's correct. Yeah.
The boat ride we did through Milford Sound was no doubt. If I was to take Audrey and go back to New Zealand, I would 100% do the boat ride through Milford Sound. 100%. The waterfalls, that was awesome. I really like, and then the little hike. We did some hikes around there. Yeah, that place was just beautiful. The whole country's gorgeous, of course, but that was really probably a highlight for me. So Milford Sound for sure. I'm trying to think of where all we went. I was underwhelmed by Dunedin when we went over that way. I mean, it's still beautiful. Honestly, the stuff we saw on the way to Dunedin was gorgeous. Yeah. But like once we actually got there, that wouldn't be on the top of my list, I would say. Would you agree with that?
So I don't disagree with what you're saying, except we had an experience there, and they pronounce it Dunedin.
Oh, yeah.
But we had an experience there that I can't say you would have if you just loaded up and went there today. So we got to see a seal who had gotten a little tired out and about in the ocean and decided he was going to come up on the beach and get some rest.
Yeah.
And that was a very, very cool experience because what did we get? 5 yards from him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was laid out. Just looked like a giant blob laying up there.
Yeah, and he was gassed. I mean, he woke up when we got pretty close to him and lifted his head up and looked at us and put his head back down. And I mean, he did not want to go anywhere or do anything. So that was a pretty cool experience. But I agree with you. I don't necessarily know that was like, oh, that's my favorite place to, out of everywhere that we visited. But
you remember the name of the little winery we stopped at and had pizza?
Yeah.
That place is incredible.
Yeah, that was an experience in and of itself. I'll have to look and see if I can find the name of it, but that was the best pizza I've ever had in my entire lifetime.
Oh, no, like not even close. That was the best pizza I've ever had. I'm looking at a picture of it right now and my mouth is watering.
Yeah. Was it in Gibbston?
It was not. It was near like the main place where Sheldon and like his winery or whatever. It was very near there. But yeah, that one was, I mean, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Like it.
Yes, it definitely
looked
was.
riding down the old road, and we're like, oh, look, there's a winery right there. Let's go eat lunch. And ended up, it had like the most beautiful view, the best pizza on earth, live music. It was awesome.
Yeah, the wines were very good. It was Kinross.
That's right.
Kinross Winery.
Yeah, I would 100% stop there again and get the pizza. Like, without it, if I ever go back, will probably be one of my first meals in New Zealand will be that pizza.
Yes, totally agree. We just stopped in there by chance.
Yeah, and it was Father's Day in New Zealand, which is a different day than ours. And so anyway, it was cool. That was neat.
Yes, yeah, and that was very worth the stop.
Yeah, no doubt. And I wish we weren't able to do the hot air balloon ride we had scheduled. I wish we had been able to pull that off. I think that was going to be pretty cool.
Part of me is very glad we didn't.
Yeah.
And part of me is a little sad that we didn't.
Yeah, but outside of that, I definitely that Milford Sound whole area around there was a highlight for me for sure. And then that winery, that meal there was pretty awesome. And this is all outside of the turkey hunting experience. As far as the place we hunted that looked like Mordor turkey hunting, and we had lunch up there on the giant hill overlooking like all the rock outcrops and turkeys, and that was a highlight lunch for me in this world.
That was tough to beat.
Yeah, looking at a picture of that right now, a sandwich, and just looking out over everything. That was and there's like 3 dead gobblers laying on the tailgate next to you in this video. That was pretty great. And then it was like, I think we ate, you had one more turkey to go. Like, all right. And so we drove like over one hill, and there's like 10 gobblers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go.
We decided to end it then.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. That was quite the day, because it was cold that morning, man. And the wind was blowing. So, just be able to sit in the sunshine, sit up on that hill and literally overlook what you felt like was the entire country, even though it was not, was pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt. What did you have anything else that was a big highlight for you that you'd want to tell people, or somebody who may be going?
I'm going to say this again, and it's going to sound kind of funny when I say it, because you're going to be like, it really can't be that good. Stop at Kinross, eat the pizza, enjoy some wines, and get a flight of wines. That almost made the trip.
That meal was insane.
I mean, the turkey, obviously, turkey hunting #1, but that meal was insane. And I will say this, because people have asked me, would you go back to New Zealand? And I would go back to New Zealand, but there are other places that I would rather go. And here's why. That entire country is spectacular. When you go around a curve in the road and you see this gorgeous snow-covered mountain with a beautiful green pasture at the base of it, with a crystal clear pond that you can look at the reflection in that pond and see everything just as perfectly as you could if the pond wasn't there, just because the reflection is so clear. That's spectacular. I mean, that really is something to enjoy. But when you go around the next curve in the road and the same thing is there again, not the same mountain, a different mountain with a different lake and a different field out there, how many of them can you see where you go, oh, wow. But we saw a lot of those, and then we went to Milford Sound, and it was like, that's on a different level.
Yeah.
So I would, if I went back, I would definitely go back to Milford Sound. I would definitely, of course, do turkey hunting. I would definitely do the pizza thing again at Kinross. I would want to go and visit some other places that we didn't quite get to see, but I'm going to tell you that I think that it would be a lot of more of the same.
Yeah,
Beautiful
no, I
mountain.
agree. I'm kind of that mindset anyway. Yeah, I think there's 2 types of people. Like, some people find something they enjoy, places they like to go, and they go back almost every year.
Over and over and over, yeah.
Yeah, and me and you are similar. Probably, why we like going to all these different states turkey hunting and stuff. Like, we just enjoy the newness of things. So I 100% would go to New Zealand at least once if I was somebody who'd never been. Am I going to go back to the South Island of New Zealand anytime soon? Likely not, and that's not because I had a bad time or anything. It's just because, like you said, there's other places on Earth I plan to explore.
Yeah.
I would be inclined to go to the North Island. Everybody we talked to said it was 100% different than the South Island. So, that'd be a totally different experience.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. But yeah, I mean, I've done it, and I think you summed it up. It's just the kind of person that I am. I don't know that I would go back because I've experienced it. And, I'd like to go to Japan. So would I go to New Zealand or would I go to Japan? I probably would choose Japan just because I've never been there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but that's not a knock against New Zealand in the least. That's just me being honest and telling you what kind of a person I am. So
100% would go back though. And so I guess if anybody is planning to go, intrigued about going, feel free to email Andy or I, Cameron.Weddington@gmail.com or Andy@IamTurkeyHunting.com. And we would be happy to send you some, what we did and, talk any further about it if you're planning to go. Because it's definitely worth going once.
Absolutely.
I do wish I was able to have taken my wife with me. She got pregnant, so she did not go. So, if I do return, it will be specifically so I could take her and, my family. So I would highly recommend if you have if you're married or have a family, it would be a great place to take your family and, spend a day or two turkey hunting and then spend the rest with your family and have a great time.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So there you have it.
Reach out to Dink and get your dates on the calendar. And from the last conversation I had with Dink, he's getting pretty booked up.
Yeah, you're going to need to get rolling with him, and I wouldn't be afraid to book, 2 years from now or on out with him. Go ahead and get on the books. But, definitely this is not a thing either where like these days everybody wants to be everywhere for opening day or nothing, oh
no,
you do not need to be the first person there. There's plenty of turkeys. They will not be shot out. It's not going to happen.
They will not be shot out. They will not be call shy.
Yeah, because we were the last people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were the last group, and if he hadn't told me anything, I would have never known they had killed any. There were so many still.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that by bringing hunters there, they're going to make sure that the population is managed better. And we talked about that, a couple of times already. So this is a good thing for the country. It brings tourism dollars there. It's a good thing for the wild turkeys. It's a good thing for the landowners. And it's just a win-win all the way around. It's an experience you'll never, ever forget.
No doubt.
So
perfect. Well, good. Let's wrap it up with that. And hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, feel free to reach out with any further questions about the experience. Be happy to share it.
Absolutely. The thing I'll close on is take all of your hunting clothes.
Yeah. Hot, cold. It could be either.
It's going to be all that.
Yeah. Either and all.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. Well,
all right, wrap us up.
Let's do this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. We know that you have choices. We appreciate you spending your time with us. We hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thanks for tuning in. You were just listening to the Turkey Hunter Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please go on over to iTunes and leave a 5-star review. And make sure to head over to www.IamTurkeyHunting.com to subscribe for free turkey hunting tips, tactics, strategies, and product reviews to help you have a more successful turkey season. And stay tuned for upcoming episodes on hunting afternoon birds, how to film your hunt, and the breeding cycle of hens, as well as some guest interviews. Thanks again for listening. We know your time is valuable, and we appreciate you sharing some of it with us. See you next week.